Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. I got a big video. It's a big week. We've got a lot going on. A lot of probable volatility events. Be careful out there with leverage, even though it looks like the long side of the trade for crypto, at least, is definitely back on the table. The big problem is legacy, which continues to look softer. I'm not as bearish as I think most legacy watchers are. We were due for a pullback. We got the pullback, but what we don't want to see for crypto purposes is bearish continuation, at least deep bearish continuation. The best case is legacy continues to chop around. So far, we have on the crypto side, Bitcoin side specifically, I could really give a crap about everything else. Bitcoin has held its own quite nicely. The supply unlocks are almost completely over. The ETH unlock is happening, did happen last week. All those people who were in denial can go back and watch those videos. The good thing, though, is it has not affected BTC. So we may see another couple weeks of ETH unlock, but so far it has not really mattered. And it's not that it would matter or will matter. It's just that it was an event that we needed to clear and just make sure that we wouldn't be affected by that. The GOX distribution is also almost finished. It's probably over 65% finished by now, as in coins sent to people being able to sell those coins. I'm guessing by mid-August, end of August, it will be 100% distributed. It would be very kind of the bankruptcy people over at Mt. Gox if they give us a final number of as far as what's been claimed and what hasn't. I doubt they'll do that, but maybe they will. But we've gone through that unscathed as well. Again, it wasn't a guarantee we were going to roll over. It was just we were looking soft post-German selling, and it was something to watch out for, and we've done quite well despite that. Technicals are all bullish. Everything looks great. Did a little internal polling in the Discord, and more people think we won't hit a new all-time high this week than we will. I was in the we will camp, and I'll get to why we might see a new all-time high this week. We don't even need to see continuation. Again, we don't need to see the God candle every week. We just need to keep slowly winning. We need to keep slowly winning both sides of the political aisle, winning against legacy slowly as it dribbles off. That's all we need to do. And eventually we will be fine as liquidity picks up and rates come back down. As far as ETF flows for BTC, another positive flow week last week, plus 535 million on the week. Net ETH had negative 350 million-ish on the week. Tons and tons and tons and tons of earnings next week for legacy. Most of this shouldn't affect us, but something to watch for on the chip side. Obviously, Microsoft, AMD, not that Microsoft is chips, but you know what I mean. We've got energy, we've got Bitcoin miner Riot, we've got Coinbase on Thursday, Amazon on Thursday, Meta on Wednesday. Just a lot of stuff, you know? And if all of this comes out and says we are in a recession or headed for a recession, then that's another test, another hurdle we're going to have to overcome if everything looks horrible here, if all of the earnings look terrible. Pfizer, it's important for me. I'll get to that at the end. One of the better looking charts out there right now in legacy land. But if all the earnings come out, if everything comes out and it says doom, devastation, radiation, it's over, then we're going to have to see what happens with Bitcoin. But I imagine it's not going to be super rosy, fun time amazingness. Something else to watch for this week. Wednesday would be FOMC on the 31st. This is JPOW. Purple tie, red tie, white tie, black tie. I think he always wears a purple tie, if I'm not mistaken. But in any event, he's not going to cut this meeting. This meeting is important because he may lay the groundwork for a cut in September, a definitive cut in September. There's another meeting in Jackson Hole in August. It is not a FOMC meeting. It is just a gathering, a conference where he will be speaking about future FOMC meetings, directions of the Fed, that sort of thing. And he may be thinking, you know what, I only have a few months left. If he wants to go out, depending on who comes in politically, he may say enough's enough. Does he want to cut? Does he want to think about inflation a little bit more? Higher for longer? We'll see what he says. We also have unemployment on Friday. We have some employment numbers earlier in the week. Just to add onto everything else. And if we start to see unemployment in the yellow line here continuously creep up, kind of like the roller coaster, where tick, 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 right? As you ratchet up on unemployment, it usually signifies this runaway problem that nothing can really stop. The difference here today, this week, is we also have the uninversion potentially of the yield curve coming within the next quarter. I'd imagine it's going to be a slam dunk as rates come down. So that is the next hurdle. What do all the earnings say? What does the technicals of the yield curve say? The 10-2 and the white here, what does that say? This suggests that we will get a yield curve uninversion pretty soon here. This has been the longest inversion on record, and we should also get rates coming down pretty soon here. You'll see a lot of doomers telling you this is a guaranteed recession. This is guaranteed bad for everything. This is guaranteed bad for stocks, guaranteed bad for risk, commodities, crypto, everything. Okay, that may be the case. That may not be the case. I don't think it is a guarantee that a recession is bad for all risk assets. Do I think crypto is recession proof? I don't. I don't think alts are recession proof. I think Bitcoin would find that challenging, but it is something else to consider before you go 100x long into August. There's also seasonality to contend with, and I'll get to that in a second. DXY still looks weak, which is super helpful for Bitcoin. This does not look bullish whatsoever. We want to continue to see this fall. You could say, well, there's some 1 hour inverted head and shoulders here, bro. All right, whatever. This still looks more bearish than bullish to me, especially when you look at the cloud, and that's helpful for things like liquidity in the green here, which on my calculation on TradingView is approaching new all-time highs above 95 trillion into 96 trillion. And it is no surprise that stablecoins in the fuchsia also rising. Bitcoin also sniffing that out like a truffle pig early, and we're seeing some moves higher there. Is this everything related to what's going on politically with Bitcoin, Nashville, Trump, strategic Bitcoin reserve, jawboning, whatever? Maybe. But I don't think we want to be politically tied to one party ever. We want to make both parties pander to us, want our vote, want our money. This is a summary of Trump's speech in Nashville. I'll let you read it. Spare you the details here. But really what we want is just clear regulations. Not that we don't like the regulations that we have now. We just want clear regulations. Stablecoins are an easy one. Bitcoin mining, another easy one. And he's going to fire Gary on day one. So we'll take it. So that's a great list. Nick also put together a list of things to do on the Democratic side to regain our confidence that they're not going to continually attack us. And there is some perceived leverage here on our side based on where the crypto packs are throwing their money. And this is really the problem. Okay. If we are the Trump trade and the Trump whatever, we're tied to that. And there's going to be people in the comments denying that and unfollowing me, whatever. That's fine. I don't want either of these people to win, just to be clear. But if we are the Trump trade and Trump loses, then Bitcoin is not going to do well off of that. Most likely. So it's something to think about into November, into Q4. Is that the final dip? Is Harris winning on election night the final dip before we move higher anyway? Like it could be. I'm just thinking of events that could go against us into Q4. As far as the other things on that supply unlock list, hash ribbons have crossed bullish. We have the 30-day above the 60-day moving average on hash ribbons. There is a ton of infrastructure being put into place. There's a ton of new tech being put into place. A ton of stranded electricity all over the globe looking for a home on the network. And the post-halving reduction in hash rate appears to be over. So this would signify miners on balance not panic selling and continuing on their merry way mining. MVRV, not really related to anything, but looking at market cap versus realized cap still gives us plenty of room on the Z-score. Well above 6, we are at 2 right now. Something to watch when we are above 100K, likely later in the year. Along with liquidity is high yield credit. High yield bond prices tend to rise with bullish conditions, bullish liquidity, post-halving, Bitcoin higher. That's the only reason I'm talking about this. It has an amazing hit rate. We don't have 300 data points here, but we have a bunch of data points that are suggestive of another way of looking at liquidity and showing we are ready to rock to all-time highs. Global M2, according to Bitcoin Magazine Pro, is not at an all-time high, but on the earlier calculation on TradingView, it definitely is. Looking at Bitcoin relative to post-halving performance, we are directly where we should be on day 96, 97, something in there. Typically into plus 130, plus 140 post-halving. That's when we tend to see much of the move. So we're not there yet, but we are where we should be. There's nothing that says we're not. I know for some people it might feel weird getting an all-time high as quickly as we did, and looking at the cycle low comparisons to the last two cycles, we are where we should be. I don't know what to tell people who think, we can't have more all-time highs. We can't keep going. We need more chop. We need more down. The tech is not on your side for that. It just isn't. I asked the two Wyckoff people, Bitcoin Schmitcoin, Crypto Jack. They were both unenthused, unimpressed, wanted nothing to do with this. Okay, they're looking for a sign of strength, which would mean a higher high or consolidation at all-time highs. Fair enough. A lot of people are going to be looking for that, and we may get that into August. But any comparison you want to make to previous cycles, halving, looks fine. And we're still within the power law corridor. We're not at the purple line yet, so this says, to me, stay in the market. There's no reason to think about selling. There's plenty of room. I don't think this is some translated up, down, left, right, center cycle. It's just a cycle, and it's probably following the power law as it always has. Before we dig deeper into the charts, let me mention today's video sponsor, Kraken Pro. Kraken Pro is a complete overhaul of the Kraken trading experience with a one-stop shop for advanced and professional traders. Kraken Pro enables efficient trading execution across multiple markets with a UI that allows for unique optimization tailored to your trading style. You can check out Kraken Pro with the link in the description of the video. Non-investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss. Cryptocurrency services are provided to U.S. and U.S. territory customers by Payward Ventures, Inc., PVI, DBA, Kraken. I was looking at some alt charts. This is stacks. As I mentioned last week, there's actually quite a few charts that on the alt side have this inverted head and shoulder type of bottoming process. Is this a terrible trade to take? I don't think so. I would just rather trade BITU. I would rather trade Bitcoin on leverage. There are people who look at this and they want leverage on this, which is already leverage on everything else. It's Bitcoin beta or Sol beta, which is WIF. You can go down the line here. None of these in particular look that impressive to me. But as the majors start to move, you'll see this stuff move too. It's just a matter of which is going to move first. I think we probably see Bitcoin Sol move first, ETH last, ETH beta last, as in potentially into Q4. There's a lot of scenarios in this path here. All of them are eventually bullish. It's just a matter of legacy and macro and liquidity and the election and rates. And then this lead lag relationship between Bitcoin and alts and majors and beta being meme coins, that sort of thing. So a lot of the alts look okay, but nothing really looks as good as this outside of Sol. Sol looks great. Sol looks better than ETH. If you want to trade an alt, if you want to trade a meme coin, Sol. Sol is the meme coin, okay? Trade that. Bitcoin looks phenomenal. Way better than ETH. Bullish TK cross, price of cloud, bullish cloud, probably tomorrow or the day after. There are going to be people coming in here telling you this is a rising wedge. Okay, then don't trade it. Buy the pullback or buy the all-time high. I don't care, or do nothing. But this is definitely back to the bullish side. I'm just as bullish here as I was back here, as I was not up here because that was a definite low time frame rising wedge. But I'd say as I was in May. May we had a shot. Germany came in, and we've got a shot once again. I don't really think we're going to keep going here per se. It would make more sense to get some more consolidation above the cloud. I don't mind that the TK cross is below the cloud. It doesn't really bother me. Some cloud maxis are going to yell at me for that, but this looks really good. This looks really good outside of a potential rising wedge imperative up here on the daily. And what's most impressive is how quickly we've reset the cloud. Fully bearish, back to fully bullish here pretty soon. We've only done that a handful of times because I know people love backtesting. Here's one such time. This was 2023. Very quick, full bear back to full bull, full send. This was 2021. Full bear, full bull, Didn't get a full send, but we got a move. Was that move amazing? No, but it was a move. It was definitely a move. We did end up pulling back to the cloud first. And you could argue this didn't full send because of FTX, potentially. Post-COVID, full reset, full send before 2020. That was around halving. 2016, full reset, post-halving, full send thereafter. So I think we're in pretty good company. This was post-Gox blow up. This was a failed full send here. We had a Adam and Eve top. This was a full reset post going sub 200 in 2015. Full send after that eventually. So a lot of the stuff on the cloud right now has a great hit rate. I really can't say it any other way. There's nothing here telling me to be bearish. There just isn't. And I'm happy to be wrong again, just like I was wrong in May and in June. At worst, we probably find support into August at 63. But I would love to see this consolidate into some sort of bullish continuation pattern. And you could argue maybe this whole thing is this cup and handle. Maybe it's a cup and handle up here. Could be. I don't know. There's like 10,000 different patterns this could be. None of them look particularly bearish to me. Pitchfork still looks great. We're below the midline. Bounced where we should. Bounced in the 20. Bounced in the 200. Day and week moving average. It looks great. This measures to 100K pretty easily by the end of the year. Bottom of the pitchfork is for buying. Top is for selling. So there's really nothing else to say. It looks like within the next couple months we should have a new set of all-time highs. The 1050 moving average also crossed bullish again, just like this failed bullish cross in May. But it's really less about the hit rate and more about being on the winning side of a massive upswing potentially, for me anyway. If you're not buying here and you didn't buy 54, I guess my question for people is, okay, where do you buy? You buy all-time highs? You buy 73? You buy 60? I don't know. I'm not mocking these people. I'm just saying, I don't know what their plan is. If this is not bullish enough for them, are we going to get a quintuple top? Maybe, but that isn't really a thing. So I certainly think we go higher. Here's another version of this. Draw this any way you want. Here's a downward bearish channel twice, two ways. We're still trying to get out of that. And it looks very bullish to me. Descending broadening wedge, as a few people have brought up. Crypto jelly on the weekly view, I believe there. And then I had one more. Here was Platazao on the daily, also painting the same thing. So whatever this is, to me, whether there's a cup and handle inside of this or not, none of it's bearish. So it looks like more up. The only issue, back to the seasonality piece, is August, September, median monthly return have not been great. So we're sort of fighting this headwind of seasonality to some degree. And if you're trying to like line up the events, maybe we get some sort of full-blown recession call-ish. We won't get the official NBER recession until way later, but we get some sort of uninversion on the yield curve, some sort of recessionary type activity, and then the Fed steps in, drops rates, brings back liquidity. We have to eat some pain for a little bit. That's the other side of this trade. That's the other side of the mega bullish argument, is we still have this looming recession to deal with. Looking at the average S&P 500 return since 1950 to present, August, September also kind of meh. September much worse. Wake me up when September ends, as Doppel says here. It's another reason to maybe be cautious here pre-September and just be ready for Q4. Just do a whole bunch of nothing, bunch of light touches until Q4, and just wait to buy dips until then, because we've also got an inconsistent data point about positive election years in the S&P. So I think no matter where you try to look, there's always going to be something, but this is showing a 100% win rate of bullishness in August with a 2.85% average return for the S&P. And all this is just guessing, using the left side of the chart to predict the right side of the chart. But that's kind of where we're at with Bitcoin. It looks great. It looks really great. We still have a few headwinds left. Those are starting to die down. Tailwinds starting to build up. Is this going to be a rising wedge? Maybe. I actually thought this was going to morph into a head and shoulders here until it broke out. I don't think it's necessarily convincing enough for people who aren't positioned to position, as I was sort of suggesting. I don't think they're going to want to do anything until new all-time highs and maybe even beyond that. But if we continue to get the inflows that we're seeing, and we chop around in the high 60s into the 70s, all we need is a little shove to push us into new all-time high territory. There's also things like BITX. This is the 4-hour cloud, legacy cloud. We had 2 failed potential breakouts in May, June, and we're back to the similar position here. Not a full bullish cloud. This is a leveraged Bitcoin. That's why I'm bringing it up. The measured move on this is significant. So it's something to watch, something to think about. It's increasingly looking better and better. You've also, of course, got MSTR, which is past logic at this point. This little graph shows you it's at the 2x premium to NAV, and it looks better than BTC does to me. It's one of the best looking charts in Legacy. Looks like an ascending triangle, inverted head and shoulders, whatever you want to call this. Cloud loves it on the 4-hour. Cloud loves it on the daily. It measures to significantly higher here. And this may break out before Bitcoin does at all-time highs. That would be something to watch for. The miners as well would be something to watch for if the miners start breaking out, either individually or as a group in WGMI. That would be a great sign, bullish divergence, if Bitcoin doesn't follow immediately. As a group, WGMI looks like chop to me. Things like CleanSpark, Cypher, Bitfarms, those are probably my strongest 3 right now. I'll look at those tomorrow. But WGMI still looks fine. On trend, it looks fine. On chart pattern, looks fine for eventual moves into the 40s here. So that's Bitcoin. Bullish. 27 minutes to tell you it's bullish, whatever this ends up being. ETH, chopping around. Really nothing. This is not going to get exciting until it's above 4K. It is not going to get exciting on a chart pattern level until it's back above the cloud at around 3,500. This could be an inverted head and shoulders, but it's going to need time. I don't really see a real catalyst for a breakout until the ETH unlock is over. ETH BTC has gone from looking mediocre to bad to downright awful. This still could eventually form some sort of triple bottom, but it's still not above the 3-day cloud. So it's just not for me. It's still in this multi-year downtrend still. So you can hope for the best and just long it anyway, but trend is not on your side. Momentum, definitely not on your side. Solana, on the other hand, looks great. Well above the cloud, fully bullish within the next day or 2 here. You've got a double bottom. You've got triple bottoms and double bottoms in your double bottom. You've got inverted, cup and handle calls. You've got all sorts of fun stuff that points to higher here. Should easily make it into 250 plus range if BTC starts to break out. And this may even break out before BTC. Sol BTC also looks very, very good. It had a head and shoulders that it shook off. It is fully bullish on the cloud. And this measures to 0.1, which would be wild. So if it's bullish on the BTC pair, it's certainly turbo bullish against ETH. I won't even bring that up. And if you're in the legacy land and you want some sort of basket, don't forget there's BitW. I bring this up because it still has a 25%-ish discount. And it's got all of your favorite crap in the bottom here. Uniswap, Bitcoin, Bcash, Dot, Link, AVAX. Now it's less than a 1% allocation, so there's really, to me, no point in having any of this stuff in there, but it's in there. It's also got Sol and Ripple, Cripple, and ETH. I really like this chart as well. Ascending triangle. Cloud loves it. Looks great for higher highs. Legacy land quickly here. Pulled back. Kijun bounce so far on ES, which is S&P futures. 2 weeks ago I said it's in the wheelhouse of where it should be based on the cup and handle, and it really didn't get much past that before it started to roll over. This probably needs a full reset like it did into Q4 2023. There's just a lot of uncertainty with rates and the election and everything that's going on potentially in the Middle East and Israel and Ukraine and blah, 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 blah. So that's not helping, I don't think. Trend-wise, it looks okay here. I don't see a trade yet. NASDAQ futures look far worse. And again, I don't think there's a trade here until this fully resets. And that probably takes all of August to do that, just like it did Q3 2023. Just no trade there. Similar to ETH BTC, it's not really about what this is individually. It's about the chart. The chart, fractal, if you want to think of it like that. The cloud. There are certain stronger ones, weaker ones. Look, I get it. It's Pfizer. Okay. I fully understand. But this chart continues to look phenomenal, continues to be one of the best looking individual names that I'm following and trading. Multi-year downtrend, chart pattern, made a higher high, made a new 52-week high, whatever they want to call it in legacy land. The immediate measured move is not much higher than where it is now, but this may lead to an eventual sustained trend. There's also a nice like 5% yield or something stupid on that thing. There are other charts that look like Pfizer. Lucid, another one. Now both of these could be a HarrisHedge. The HarrisHedge. Harris, I'd imagine, would be more pro EV, more pro science. I don't know, right? Like you could justify this however you want, but there are ways you can think about that. TLT is another one. Cloudwise looks phenomenal. So there are options out there other than the S&P, other than NASDAQ. KWeb kind of in no man's land. Eventually this should break out. This is also a HarrisHedge, probably, because if Trump gets elected, I can't imagine the Chinese internet ETF stocks are going to be too happy about that. So you can tag me on Twitter, hashtag HarrisHedge. SPPP would be a failed version of the previous two charts. Platinum Palladium tried to break out, didn't. Looks like a Head and Shoulders, looks like death for now. And you can go down the line. PayPal, same thing. Head and Shoulders, death for now. Watch it later. Leave it on the list. Think about it. MSOS, another one. A lot of people were watching. A lot of people were asking me about. Head and Shoulders, failed to break out, death for now. They're just better charts to trade. Square, Head and Shoulders, death for now. Better charts to trade that, despite looking like they were ready or might be close to ready, it's not it. It's not it now. Come back, revisit in Q4. And here's a couple I recently got stopped out on. SMCI looked okay. Chips went south. Such is life. Below the cloud. Certainly not along down here. I don't even care if this recovers. This is just not a momentum bullish trend hold. Same thing with Uber. Just fully got rejected at 75. And down she went, despite the pretty good looking inverted Head and Shoulders there. And then copper, of course, also had Head and Shoulders that reversed lower. So the trick here is swing where you think it looks good. Swing at charts you like. Don't be afraid to cut. Slow to higher, quick to fire. And keep your concentrated bets on things that look great. Things like BTC, things like Sol, things like MSTR Advisor. That's all I got for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.